Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for attending. My name is Jessica Lucky, and I am the Director of Client Success here at Altos Research. I'm super excited to continue our Lunch and Learn series here. Those of you who've taken a class of mine before know that, I get very excited to share all of this great content. Whether you're brand new to Altos or if you've been a long-time client, this is our Lunch and Learn series. It's an opportunity to go outside the box a little bit. Maybe you've signed up for your onboarding session. Maybe we've done some training together. I love seeing familiar faces, so I'm really excited that you're here. Those are opportunities where it's a lot of the how to add the contacts and all of these great, how to understand the platform. And that's great. And I definitely recommend that you go through that if you haven't already. But the Lunch and Learn is an opportunity for me to be a little bit more creative, right? Talk about strategies. Something that you've probably heard me say many times is, and if we've chatted, is that getting the content is the easy part. It is the strategy that you really want to put some thought to, right? And so it's really great to be able to have this opportunity to do that. And again, we've got our Altos Pro manning that chat. And so I definitely encourage you to drop any questions that you might have. I have a couple of prompts that I will be making mention of. So please be aware of those too. Okay. All right. So this is stepping up our social game with Altos, right? So last month we talked about our latest feature release, the lead form builder. And that was such a great success. And I got to work with a lot of folks to really better understand those and wrap their arms around it to really be better about understanding where their leads are coming from, right? So in that session, I learned that there was a lot of interest though on sharing via social media. What does that mean? What are the different opportunities that I have in order to do that? And so that's what we're doing today. And so in this session, I'm hoping that we could take a slower pace and not cover so much, right? And we're just going to focus on that social media and how we might be able to incorporate the various assets available to you within your Altos platform, increase your social media presence, and truly demonstrate that you have the expertise of being the market expert. Okay. And so before I really dive in here, I did want to make mention that we have a YouTube channel. So if you hear me say previous Lunch and Learns and you're like, oh, bummer, I didn't attend that, or I don't know what they're all about, we do have a YouTube channel and we will drop that into the chat. So our YouTube channel has a wealth of information. So you'll notice that when you come here, there is a ton of information that you'll find. I just want to focus here on the very last segment, the Altos customer webinars. These are the Lunch and Learns, and there's lots of content here. The last one was Measure What Matters, Smarter Marketing with Altos. That's where we really dive into those lead forms, okay? But you'll see that there's quite a bit of content here. So if you want additional assistance, that's where I'd recommend that you go, okay? All right, so when it comes to social media, like I mentioned, getting the actual content is kind of the easy part, right? But you want to put some thought into what it is that you want to accomplish. So the first thing you want to do is to determine the goal of your social media posts, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, right? There's plenty of ways to share it, but you want to think about what your goal is. So if your goal is to be informative, awesome, right? You can be informative. You've got plenty of content that allows you to do that. Or is your goal to obtain leads? If you're going out and sharing this on social media, are you wanting to obtain the leads? Do you want to drive interaction? So sometimes on Instagram or on Facebook, you might have a business page and you may want to drive people to interact with you and your post. Okay, great. That is a different strategy. But knowing allows you to determine your approach. Okay. So one of the things about, sharing on Facebook, you can come into your platform. This is the landing page. You have the share functionality here. You can share a given report to Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Okay. Just at a click of a button. You can also do that here, right? Within the report itself. Just click on share and you can choose what platform you'd like to share this report to, right? Sharing on Facebook is great. But again, it's all about what your strategy is. Altos is a valuable content and it keeps up with social. You have to keep up with the social media, right? So when you think about Facebook, you want to create, you understand that there's momentum. So you want to be consistent with what you're posting. So what is your strategy there? One of the questions I get frequently is, can I set up automated social posts? And so I figured I would go ahead and answer that question. And at this time, no. Because there are different assets that you can share on social media, you want to be able to control that a little bit. What I always recommend is that you say, okay, I'm going to do this once a week, or I'm going to do this twice a week, and you put it on your calendar, right? Hey, I'm going to go and share on Facebook. Yes, time flies. I use the calendar just because it's amazing how quick time flies, right? And so that's something that you want to do is set up some consistency. When we first started doing the YouTube channel, we had never done our webinars before, and we didn't do some of that strategy there. And all of a sudden, as we started doing a regular cadence, we started to build the following. So don't be alarmed if you don't get a lot of feedback initially. It's the following that you want to try to create. Okay. Now, sharing on Facebook, one thing to note is if you go up to share and share to Facebook, you're sharing to your current sphere. So understand, again, the goal. If the goal is to inform, that's an absolute reasonable thing to do, right? You can share your content on a regular basis on Facebook, okay? And so, again, you're getting in front of people who already know who you are. And if you want to get leads, those leads would come from the folks who see your post and choose to share it, right? Not so much getting in front of new eyeballs initially. And so if I go to my first share here, this is something that you could potentially do on a regular basis to keep your current client base informed about the market. One of the best things about Altos is that you get fresh content week after week. Therefore, you have fresh content to share with your clients week after week. It's really, really important, right? Why is it important? Especially in days where we are like leading with feeling, we really need to be following the data. And remember that consistency? Imagine sharing a given report. It could be a county report, a city report, a zip code specific report. Imagine sharing the report every Monday morning, okay, on Facebook. And this could be a post that you create. How's the market this week? This week, the median list price for Los Gatos, California, 95032 is 2,789,000. Great. With the market action index hovering around 43. With the market being balanced at 30, we are still seeing a slight seller's market. Inventory has decreased to 27. Click the image below to view the full report. Using the search at the top of the report, enter your own zip code and sign up to stay informed with your local market. Remember, the market can shift quickly. So you create your post. Part of this is the fear of, okay, what do I write? So I want to encourage you that when you're creating your post, when sharing your report, consider using the narrative that already exists within the report. It makes it a lot easier. You can literally copy and paste and then make some tweaks, right? Remember, this is getting in front of my sphere. And so this is going to drive them to click on the image to view the full report and use the search functionality within the report to find their themselves. So what's really important about the search function here is to make sure that your customization is working to your favor. How do we do that? So going back to your account, one of the things you want to focus on is making sure that your reports are set up to support your goals. And if your goal is to not give away the farm, but rather you want to get leads, get people to sign up to see these reports on a regular basis, then you're going to want to make sure that your lead form level is set up appropriately. What is that? So if you click on your name in the upper right-hand corner and click on Customize Reports, here is your setup. Yes, you want all of your contact information here. It's great for marketing. The thing you want to focus on is under Advanced. Under Advanced, you'll notice that you have a lead form level. This search functionality built into your report is really great. And without having the lead form on search, you're basically giving it away. Especially if you're sharing it on social media, they view the report, they can look at anything without giving any information at all. So if there's at all a chance that you'd like to get the lead, you should probably be sure to switch your lead form level to on search. That way you have the reports working for you. That way, when you go to the report itself and you make mention, hey, use the search function, they'll be prompted on search to subscribe here, enter their information, and this information is then sent to your contact database as a lead. Okay. So again, doing it in this way, you're sharing the report, right, to your current sphere. I wanted to just make mention, in case you didn't know, the best way, if using Facebook as your social media platform to get in front of new eyeballs, is to place an ad. And you might think, well, heck, what the heck is an ad? And I don't know what that is. Okay, that's okay, right? So we'll go back here. If you have the ability to place an ad on Facebook, by all means, use any of the assets we talk about today in those social media ads, whether it's a link to the report. We'll talk about a summary share. We'll talk about the snapshot. That is awesome. All of the different assets that you can utilize in your social media posts, you can place in that ad, right? But many of you may not have the bandwidth to figure it out and place the ad. So just so you're aware, we do have a feature built in that is promote. Promote is where you're choosing to allow us to place an ad on your behalf. And you'll see here, we will promote whatever location you've chosen using Facebook ads to generate buyer and seller leads. We write the ad copy based on the current market conditions, and we select the best performing images. And you'll see if I click outside of the box here and we go back to promote under share, that image changes. So placing the ad with our optimized targeting algorithms. So the great thing about this, yes, it's an extra cost, but you have the flexibility to change your budget, whatever you've decided on. And below that, you'll notice that it will tell you 3 to 5 leads, right? Bump that up 6 to 10. Once you're ready, just click promote now. When you do that, we will start that 7-day ad run and you will go ahead and be able to see the performance of that ad. So just in case you didn't know it existed, one of the great features within your Altos account is the ability to utilize that promote. When you do that and you go to contacts, if a lead comes in from that ad, the source will make mention Facebook. Okay, so you will know where it comes from, which if you've taken previous lunch and learns, you'll know that that is a really good strategy to have, being able to determine where these leads are coming from so that you can see where your market efforts should be spent. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And that's just Facebook, right? So when you think about it, and you go this direction, you're looking at the report and you click on share and you click on Facebook. This is as easy. You do not have to do any kind of configuring. You're going to decide on what image is most impactful for your post. Now remember, this one here makes mention to click the image below to view the full version of the report and then use the search function. There's another route to take, right? And that route has to do with a report request form. Why is that important? Because again, if you're taking upon yourself to share to Facebook, to your sphere, right? And you want to know where your lead is coming from, you're going to set up a unique campaign. So you decide on what image you'd like to share, and you'll notice that I chose the Market Action Index. That's my favorite. That's the one that's most well received, right? We know that 30 is balanced, so anything greater falls into a seller's market. Anything less falls into a buyer's market. Great. Well, if we want to track where the lead is coming from, it's really important that we first create a campaign. You'll notice when I click on campaigns, I have quite a few different ones, but I don't have a Facebook campaign. I do have an Instagram. So what I can do is I can preview this. All right, great. I can use this content within my Facebook, but I want to differentiate from my Instagram campaign. So instead of grabbing the lead form link for my Instagram campaign, I'm going to create a brand new one, but I'm going to utilize the content from the campaign here. So I'm going to click Edit Campaign for Instagram, and I'm going to highlight this. This is the email that they are going to receive. So we copy that. Go back to campaigns, click on New Campaign, and this is going to be Facebook, your latest market report. Great. Coming from me. Great. Okay, so I can go through this. Weekly is good, and all I need to do is paste this here, and voila, include my signature box, which is my customization, create, and we're good. Here's where the gold is. Now, instead of directing people to necessarily use the search, I'm going to include the link to my campaign where they can fill out the form to request a market report. Okay, so all I have to do is click on lead form. You'll see the campaign is selected. I'm going to allow them to choose from any report within my account. Great. All I have to do is copy link location, right? And so now if I go here and I paste it, here's my lead form. Anytime somebody fills out this particular lead form, they will show up in my contact database and assigned to the campaign Facebook, right? So great. So going back here, I'm going to choose this and I'm going to click share. When I do that, it's going to pull up my Facebook. Great. Okay. And this is where you put your posts, just like I've done it here. In this version, this is where I took the narrative, right? But you can easily just say, as we head into fall, it's still a seller's market in Los Gatos, California. Interested in your own localized market report? Click here to sign up for your reports and I'll have them in your inbox week after week, right? And then you just paste in your link. This allows you to go about having them click on the link to get to the form and end up in your contact database. So that goes along with the goal of obtaining those leads, right? So that's something that you can do here, right? So again, you can say, as we head into fall, it's still a seller's market in Los Gatos. Be sure to click the image below and sign up today, right? Sign up for your own localized market report here. And we just do this, and put the link. And then you can hit share, right? So that is another way of going about doing it. And so if you're sitting there and you're thinking, okay, great, well, I have to come up with content to put in the post. If you're interested in prompts, I want you to drop in the word prompts into the chat and I'll email you some of the prompts that I'm using, right? So we have this. Just as a reminder, I just pulled the narrative from the market report and then made some tweaks. The key here is to give the call to action. Click the image below to view the full report. Use the search at the top of the report to enter your own zip code. So that is going to be something you're going to want to do if that's what your goal is, right? And then you can also do something around the time. Be spirited, right? Add the Halloween, all of the things. So this is where you're including your own link. So drop prompts in there. So that is sharing the report itself. And of course, that is amazing. And again, you can share by using the share function in the report. You can share by going to reports here, right? You have the share function here. I will say that the share function works on Facebook, LinkedIn, and X, Twitter, all the same. You choose the image you want to share, but you're not limited to just sharing a report. What if you just wanted a tad of information or a summary? The report is big, right? There's a lot that goes into it, and that's great. But you also have other assets. And so I wanted to share with you some ideas, right? And so another idea I have is with LinkedIn. When you think about Facebook and you think about Instagram and you think about LinkedIn, each of them are very uniquely different. I will say that Facebook is something that you can do consistently. You can do it consistently across the board. But being able to share the report is great because it supports those links, right? Instagram is kind of problematic. You can share the report on LinkedIn, but I also have a different strategy. So if we click on my LinkedIn, what you'll see here is I chose to use what's called a summary share. And again, here is a prompt. I believe that LinkedIn supports a little bit more depth, right, to your posts. People will post articles, right? So I think this offers an opportunity for you to go into greater detail. So here you'll see that if you're considering buying or selling a home, there's a big difference between making decisions based on gut feelings and making them based on market intelligence. It's huge right now. I've talked about it over and over and over again over the last few months, where you are probably dealing with lots of emotions, right? And it's super important to remove the emotion and focus on data. Too often, people enter the real estate market assuming they understand it, only to be blindsided by rapid changes. The truth, The market shifts quickly and data-driven decisions make all the difference, right? Emotion-based actions often lead to frustration, disappointment, and unnecessary anxiety, right? I always say, would you rather walk down the street blindly or be informed? It's not that the information you're sharing is rainbows and butterflies. That's not the point. The point is be informed, right? So it doesn't have to be that way. That's why I offer localized weekly market reports so that you can stay ahead of the curve and make confident, informed choices. Want to stay in the know? Sign up today and start seeing the market clearly before it changes. Click here, okay? This goes to the form to fill out to receive reports of interest. This works really, really well. And this is just enough information. Remember, Altos is really great with meeting people where they're at, whether they absorb things visually, they like the numbers, or they just want to be told how it is. This does and hits that mark, okay? So again, if you'd like the prompts, let me know, drop that in the chat, and I can follow up, okay? So that's another one. Now, this, how do you get it? Just so you know, in case you didn't, under embed of any location, click on embed and you can go use the first drop down, click on summary share. This will incorporate your branding, which is awesome. Okay. That alone is great. But you'll notice that you can add the narrative. Adding the narrative is that blurb that reaches those who just want to know what's going on. Download the image and share the image on LinkedIn like you would share any other image. The same goes for Instagram. Instagram, however, you got to be quick, right? So with Instagram, it's a little huge, sorry, but you'll notice that I've got the same image. I've changed the verbiage. So in this one, thinking about buying or selling a home, don't rely on gut feelings. Real estate moves fast and emotions won't keep up with the market. Stay ahead with my free localized market report. Real data, local insights, smarter decisions. Don't find out after the market shifts. Be the first to know. Sign up today. Click the link in my bio or DM me to get started. Great. Okay. So notice it's a different spin. It's shorter. It's a different vibe because that's Instagram. So now the difference is you cannot embed links, right? So what you can do is say the bio, and you would put in your bio, just like I've got it here. That's a link to my form here. Okay. Or they can DM me. So perfect. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, again, it's the same idea. Be aware that you can, again, obtain it here. What's another asset that you have access to? The snapshot. And the snapshot is awesome. If you change your view here to market view, you will see that you have the ability to have what's called report view. That's yours. You're the account owner. But there's a snapshot for each of these, okay? You can control what that snapshot represents. By clicking on settings, select market view stats, click market snapshot, you can decide up to 9 statistics within this image and choose to share this image on social media. Okay, snapshot. You can see mine. What's another use case for this? It's a great script, right? Notice in Facebook, I said what the median list price was. Well, it's down 4,500, right? But what if I wanted to do a video? That is great. So if I wanted to do a video, I can use this as my guide because the difference is this doing a market minute using this big report, that's a lot more difficult, right? So if I were to use this as my guide, as my script, this works really well. But it's also an image that you download that you are free to share on social media. Okay. And so hopefully that helps a bunch there. So again, when you go through and you're attempting to do your social media sharing, you want to focus on what your goal is. Again, do you want to get leads, right? Or do you want to get in front of new eyeballs? If you do and you want to use Facebook, don't forget about the ads. If you want to use LinkedIn, remember they don't support the links. So you're going to want to use the assets that you have within your account, summary share, snapshot, right? And you can do that. Don't forget, you can put links in your bio in Instagram. LinkedIn allows you to do a little bit more, right? You can share the report, but you can also share an image. And again, if you are doing Twitter, you can share the report. All of them, you have all of those different assets. The key is, do you want to incorporate the form? Do you want to rely on them using the search function within the report? All of them are great ideas, but you want to have thought as you go through it. What are your calls to action, right? If you want to have interaction from your folks on Facebook or Instagram, etc., pose a question of your audience and see how they respond. Okay. And so again, use the campaigns. Hopefully it was helpful to go through that process and see how easy it is to create additional campaigns, right? Use the lead forms and really tailor it so that you can see where your leads are coming from. Consider doing video, right? Again, you can use the snapshot. Social media is just one aspect of what you can do with your Altos in meeting your marketing needs. Website integration, direct mail, e-newsletters, the content we discussed today can easily be integrated there as well. If you have a starter or a light account and you'd like to explore all that Altos has to offer with a subscription, please drop a note right into the chat and Jeff will drop in a calendar invite or access to his calendar so you can book some time. We definitely want to hear from you. We're here to help, right? So definitely, if you want to have a demo or more of a learning experience, understand some of these things, again, just make mention into the chat and we will follow up with you. You can schedule some time. Okay. If you'd like access to some of these prompts so that you can start with that and then build it, that's great. Just put prompts into the chat and we'd be glad to do that. Thank you so much for setting aside the time today. I hope you found it was valuable. And I hope you felt it was time well spent. Okay. So thanks again, everybody. If you want access to other Lunch and Learns, don't forget to go to our YouTube channel. Also up at Help, there's a bunch of resources here as well.